Hey! This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in. It's JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us again. This time on a beautiful Tuesday. It's beautiful, JJ, because we're on a couch. We are on a couch. Usually this is reserved for the warehouse, but we are sitting on the couch near Studio A, where, of course, we're going to have our second of 3 nights of honoring the KSL Sports Players of the Week across the state of Utah. This one, your Salt Lake Valley winners. They're going to come to KSL tonight, and there is a lot of cool stuff in store. Can we just say there's some cool stuff in store? These kids have no idea.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome that they're going to be honored the way that they are. And I can't wait for those surprises to hit them, and I think that's going to be really cool. But another night of honoring these athletes, JJ, and so and we get to do it right from our own home building. So 58 feet from the studio.
Love it.
I'm going to send my mileage in still, though.
Do it. You deserve every penny.
All right, look. Here's the deal. We've got stuff to talk about, and I honestly just don't know what this means. I don't know what the long-term ramifications are.
It's a new world we're in, right?
And I was told that this might be something that was going to happen, and I think we punted it down the road and said, yeah, right, hold on, no way. And here we are, top of the program, talking about Utah selling off as a private entity its athletics department with a $500 million investment from a private equity firm who will have a ownership stake in everything that Utah does from the athletic standpoint. As far as I understand it, this is what we're talking about. Now, what that means to me is because apparently, and I don't know if the exact numbers have been out there, but obviously as a public institution, these are things that are going to, I think, come up. Although I wonder, will they be a private entity now? Like in the sense that, oh shoot, JJ, are they gonna big time us and not have to do any interviews and stuff and like do all the?
That's the first thing your mind goes to.
Hey man,
we don't know anything about what this means because it's brand new.
Well,
we've heard of other places
Yes.
thinking about doing the private equity. We'll get into it after the cut here, but This is new and it's happening right here in Utah, which is fascinating.
Let's jump in here and do it officially. Let's get the show started out as we always do. It's the cut, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJANwealth.com, for all your trusted local needs in retirement from a financial fiduciary, TrajanWealth.com. All right, JJ, this is not X's and O's. This is an amazing – I think that the potential of this is actually – I've seen a lot of negative stuff, and I actually look at it like, hey, man, the game to play now is who's got more money. And if you can turn – an entity of athletics into something that is churning and making money. And by the way, I think not having to just lean on alumni donating every year to make sure, or to get an NIL trust set up or all those things, it's a new way to make money. And if they own 49%, which is what we've been told, and the University of Utah will still have a controlling stake in it, does that mean the athletic program is worth $1 billion? I mean, that's the valuation they just got, right? Half of the company's worth $500 million. They're infusing it with $500 million of cash and essentially buying into it. What are we talking about, JJ? What is the fallout from something like this? I don't know what we're going to be looking at in the college football world now, man.
It's a brand new world, and we've heard of stories where the Big Ten is looking into private equity. Certain schools are looking into private equity.
Your Marks brought it up.
Utah's the first one to jump into this. And private equity, this is a big deal because this is the first. This is pretty groundbreaking. And we don't know what this means for the future. We don't know what it means short-term or long-term because it's never really been done before. What I do know is college sports at the highest level, at the Power 4 level, are no longer college sports. It's pro sports.
So there's an actual company name that's attached to it. It's the Utah Brands and Entertainment LLC. So is Mark Harlan the president of Utah Brands and Entertainment LLC? He's not the athletic director anymore?
That's a good – I don't know.
He's the Utah Brands and Entertainment LLC president.
All it says is an executive team from Otro Capital, combined with athletics department personnel, will lead the creation and operation of the new company, which will live within the university's foundation. I don't know what Otro Capital is because that's not my area of expertise. I don't know who the executive team is. I don't know who the combined – athletics department personnel are.
So you're going to have on the board still.
I don't know.
So it looks like you're going to have the Otro executives and the trustees that I think are the big names up at Utah. And then Mark Harlan's the director of it. He's still going to be the athletic director. He's chairing the board, essentially. He's an executive of this business that is now Utah Sports.
Yeah, according to the release, the university retains majority ownership and decision-making authority of Utah Brands and Entertainment. Otro marries the capital infusion with a team of experienced operators.
What does that mean? That sounds like
they bring the cash, and you guys as the athletic personnel, you know how to manage this world. We're bringing the funds, so we're going to work with you.
But they also said
on how to make this work.
But experienced operators, that makes it sound like they're coming in. Are they going to let people go? They're not. That's what I'm saying. People worry about that.
Is this an episode of Office Space right now?
I'm telling you, it seems a little bit.
Everything makes this makes a lot of people uneasy. You mentioned at the top of this, that a lot of people are really uneasy about this. We all know those two words. When you hear them, you're like, oh, you kind of cringe a little bit. Private equity.
What's it going to turn this into?
Look what private equity did at Cafe Rio. How can I trust private equity?
But you know what? They've crawled
free
back.
meal.
I know.
What happened to the free meal?
I know. Well, but the reality is that
the quality's not the same.
Here's what's awesome for Utah. I think that they have set themselves up. Number one, they set the market price, right? They said people are going to start doing this now, aren't they? People who are pulling the trigger. And by the way, don't think for a second that this wasn't a great piece of timing for them, because all BYU did was flaunt the money last week. Right?
Oh, big time.
And people were wondering, okay, Utah fans are wondering, are we going to be able to compete with this? Hey, tell me what you're doing. This is it.
It's not just BYU. It's Texas Tech.
It's Texas Tech. And BYU's looking at Texas Tech going, we got to do that. And so everybody's looking at that. So is Utah leading out on something? That doesn't shock me at all. That they're the first, that doesn't shock me at all. I think it's a brilliant move if you're going to do it to go, we're jumping in first. We're going to set the market. By the way, it's only going up from here. If private equity firms come in, or tell me if I'm wrong, I don't know. Now we're going to start seeing Forbes' valuation of the athletics department at Alabama, which I guarantee would be worth more than most NBA teams, all NHL teams.
Probably.
Right? We're talking about probably a $5 billion situation. Like, it's a crazy thing, and that's the world they're living in. So now, are every athlete going to be employees of Utah Brands and Entertainment? Well, guess what? They're talking about the collective bargaining between I would assume, athletics department employees, which would be the athletes as well. Isn't that what we're looking at? Isn't that what we're – I'm assuming that's what this is. And I'm just shocked at how wild this has become because – and it makes me anxious because I think that it also means – I think Utah pictures themselves, and you should do this, bigger than where they're at right now. And you need to kind of aim for that. But that, to me, feels like that they do want to make some sort of a move to another conference, that they aren't long for the Big 12. I don't know if that's the case.
Well, I think, this is just the truth. I think any and all team needs to be ready to go. School team, I use that term in the same way as the whole organization, the athletic department, the school. They always have to be looking forward. And I think that I'll give Utah credit for that here, is this is a very forward-thinking move. It's new. There's uncertainty here, as there is with any business deal, but it's very forward-looking and forward-moving. And I think the moving part's the most important part. This isn't just talk. This is action of we're going to make this jump. The Big 12 Yormark was looking over some of these options, as you remember, right? They ultimately decided not to do that. And the conference probably doesn't need to do that, but individual schools certainly can. And you've seen other schools like Kentucky and others, especially on the basketball front, start these breakaway, entities to try to raise funds or to create revenue that allows them to compete at the highest level and pay these players and everybody else that needs to be paid. I think it's a very forward move and a forward-thinking move by Utah to do this. You got to make a move. I think, and has the success of Texas Tech and BYU in your own conference maybe pushed you forward? Oh, I am sure it has. You're trying to win at the highest level and compete at the highest level. Utah fans, no matter what comes with this, should see that athletic department in that school are trying to win at the highest level. They're trying to do everything they can to compete. And the truth is, Alex, Utah didn't have the billion-dollar oil tycoon. They didn't have the billion-dollar tech guys. They just don't. So where are they going to get that kind of revenue to compete with that? Private equity. And that's what they fell on, and that's what they're moving forward with. And this is a model that schools around the country are going to be watching. Everyone's going to have their eyes on Salt Lake City and to see how this develops. Will this work? Will this be effective? This is a long ways from just giving away trucks.
Oh, my goodness.
We have come a long way in a short period of time.
The trucks are a funny piece of the NIL history.
Oh, yeah.
But, again, Utah,
bleeding out credit. On it. They let out on it.
And I think that
that pushed BYU.
Listen.
100% pushed BYU.
I'm telling you, as soon as all this stuff happened last week, it felt like that there's always this imaginary horse race of the dollar signs going down the track. And it was Utah ahead for a while, and then BYU fans feel like they pulled it all back, and they were what's the thing that they do? Is it furlongs? Is that the distance that they use for horses? I'm glad it's a good pull by me. I didn't even know.
Look at you.
Hey, Alex Napolis.
Horse racing guy.
Hey, Alex Napolis. Look up how far furlong is. I think it's like 14 elbow lengths or something like that. Anyway.
You sound smart right now.
But anyway, and I think people 20 yards, 220. That's a lot. That's secretariat distance of winning right there. Yeah. Anyway, bottom line is, it is a race. It is absolutely a race. It felt like that with BYU and Texas Tech. It's always like that with Utah and BYU. And Utah is full of smart people. The entire University of Utah Board of Trustees is going to be a part of this too. They're going to make these decisions. And apparently they all met, last week or whenever, and they basically said, because they had to approve. The Board of Trustees, and by the way, the University of Utah is a public institution, so making a move like this is it's a complicated move, I think. And so being able to have that conversation and go, all right, we're comfortable with it, and you sell off a chunk of your university. That is wild. That is wild. It sounds crazy. And yet, I can't imagine Utah not getting better immediately.
The Board of Trustees, by the way, met today.
Oh, they did? It was today?
Oh, yeah.
But they made this vote, and they pushed it forward. So these negotiations obviously have been going on a long time if they're going to proceed with these conversations with Otro. I hate saying that. It's really dumb. Otro. Sounds like bad.
I didn't name the company. I don't know.
Bad white guy Spanish. Hey.
As long as this works and makes money, who cares what it's called?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to wrap my head around what it actually means from a business standpoint. And whether or not other universities look at that and go, that's a disaster, or we will never do that. Or if they're calling their main people going, see what Utah did? We're not looking into doing that. Or they look and they go, see what Utah did? Will you be on board with us doing the same thing? And the biggest brands, I think, are going to take the biggest look at this. And Utah in a fishbowl, figuring this situation out, might be the best thing to be able to make yourself competitive. Now, then there's the part about the tradition of college sports and athletics. And that's
it's dead.
Gone.
It's dead.
That's disappointing, right? Like, when you think about it. Because you think that
this is professional. If you have an infusion of $500 million in private equity money, you are professional.
They're treated like professional athletes.
Your
right?
players and coaches, the players are paid large amounts of money. The coaches are paid large amounts of money. This is a profession. This is business. This isn't school anymore for those that are involved. This is a business, but this is what it's evolved to. And I think this is Pandora's box, right? to use an analogy. This is exactly what it is. Utah is the first. They won't be the last. And it's just a matter of time before other schools do something similar. It's a fascinating time to be following college sports. The future is uncertain, and things like this are developing. And if you loved college football for the pageantry and the tradition and all those things that Keith Jackson
is rolling over in his grave.
Keith Jackson reasons why you love college football.
I know.
Those days are over.
Where's our guy Sly when we need him to complain about, where was this when I was a player?
Yeah,
I know. Ramen.
Oh, man.
No
players are eating ramen
but
with
by the
deals
way,
like this.
That was a full generation ago now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a different world.
In a span of a dozen years, we've turned into something completely different. And you're going to see the same logos on the helmets. I think you're going to see added patches onto the jerseys, and I think
how long before we start seeing that? Yeah.
100%.
Sponsors on the jerseys.
They've already started putting stuff on fields, which was like a big kind of a hurdle that
Right.
they had to figure out too. And so I think that I don't weep for the old age of college athletics in the sense that I still am going to be able to watch college football that I love. We're still going to have a college football playoff committee that is just so good going forward. They're the best.
Right.
We get those guys forever. No, but
no controversy whatsoever.
In the end, I think it'll still look like college football on the field. It will be very different off the field. And I mean, if you want to look at it, it was probably a long time coming because all this is just part of. I mean, look at what happened. Look at what happened from players going, you know what? I think you owe me money from when I was a player and my name was on the back. How about, is it Banyan? Was it Ed O'Bannon?
Ed O'Bannon. That changed college sports forever.
He changed. That one guy got us to here. You know that meme where the guy knocks over that little.
But he was absolutely right.
It was 1,000%. And these guys and gals who have been playing, they deserve to get paid. When they bring in massive amounts of revenue, of course they deserve to get paid. And it's going to look interesting. Facilities are going to get upgraded. Your rosters are going to get upgraded. I have a question about what sports end up sticking around, or if sports are in danger. Maybe they're not. Maybe they go, hey, we're going to bring back, and they won't be. Maybe they bring back all of the sports that they can. You know what I mean? And are they going to be subject to Title IX the way that everybody else is?
Well, that's still law, 100%.
Okay, so how are they going to approach this from the standpoint of some of the things that are legally binding in these athletic departments, on top of the fact that they are also trying to figure out how to get these things running smoothly? Because guess what? That's the reputation that they have, is that they come in and streamline the process, and they make it more efficient, and they're better at it, and they bring more money in. And the more money part is where the better, the competition really starts. It's the reason that Texas Tech became a power in 1 year. I know they've been building it for a while, but let's be honest.
This was the grand unveiling.
When they had
this year was the big reveal.
A $7 to $9 million defensive line is insane. And you know what it is? It's actually really fun to watch those guys. They beat everybody. It's pretty crazy.
It looks like an NFL front.
So
it's paid off for them.
In the end, they're getting paid that. Now, does that mean players are gonna stick around for those 4 to 5 years, and you're not gonna have people bailing in the NFL? I think you'll see less of it. I think you'll see fewer guys. You're gonna see guys getting cut a lot faster off of rosters. You're going to see a lot change, and not the least of which is going to be a very interesting locker room. It's already like that, of guys getting paid at different levels, but now they're all on the payroll as employees, and it's hard not to look across and go, that guy's good or whatever, but I had as many reps as he did at free safety, and I'm getting paid, I think, half of what he's getting paid. Yeah, it's bonkers.
The things we're talking about would have blown our minds 5-10 years ago, but this is the reality.
Yeah.
You now have private equity getting involved in Utah athletics. It's insane.
Now that we've solved all the world's problems,
yes,
since we read the press release, is it better? Is it better for sports? Is it better for what we do and the stuff that we bring people? You know what I mean? Like, I look at it from that standpoint. Like, will this enhance our experience because the fans are the only ones that really matter at the end of all this? because they're the eyeballs on the TV that get the real money done. And that's a huge deal. And is it going to get ruined for that guy and his family on the couch who tune in to watch this game on a Saturday? Is it going to get weird? Is it still going to be the quality product? Can it blow up somehow? I have all these, I'm anxious about all this. I don't know what this is going to look like. And I don't know if at this point you're never going to get the normal back, right? And so
no, you have
we'll
to be progressive, that's the thing here. If you want to pull the Mike Gundy and cling to the past, what's going to happen to you? Adapt or die. I'm sorry, you have to adapt or die. And Utah in this situation has decided we're going to adapt. We're going to compete. BYU and Texas Tech, we are going to try to level the playing field as much as we can with this opportunity. We want to beat you. And without this kind of infusion, Utah would not be able to do that. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
How else would Utah be able to compete with the money that BYU and Texas Tech have right now in just this conference alone?
Well, that's what I was going to say. From a horse race perspective, back
you have
to it again.
do it.
From the horse race perspective, I think Utah pulled in the lead with these numbers. I think that they probably, it was shocking what BYU did last week, that they pulled out all the stops and figured it out for Kalani and extending those guys and getting a ton of NIL money. And then at the same time, it's wild to think that Utah goes, wait till we roll this out next week.
Yeah.
Because Utah fans, I think they wonder if it's going to be worth it, but at the very least, you're outbidding people now. You're outbidding people now. So we'll see how that goes.
As long as they manage it properly.
Yeah.
Let me add that to what you're saying.
Gosh, this feels icky too. They're not actually talking about freaking sports
because we're talking about private equity,
business,
and those two words together make you cringe.
I know.
We'll see.
Let's take another break here. We'll come back. More to go right around the corner. I've got a pretty fun list for you. We love lists, and you know what? We're going to be talking about money, but
sweet.
It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more from the perspective of something that we can be eye level with the college football playoffs. So I'll explain it next. We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. We're broadcasting live from our Studio A downstairs from our normal studios. Today we're going to honor another group of KSL Sports Players of the Week. This Salt Lake Valley edition of it are all of these players. Hercules First Federal Credit Union gets on board, and they back this whole shindig. And there's a lot of other sponsors, people who are on board, and we appreciate how much that they do to make these kids feel special. So we're going to have that happen here at our own studios today. JJ, the big news, of course, was the infusion of all that dough into the University of Utah Athletic Department that is now Utah Brands and Entertainment, LLC.
It has embraced private equity.
Go Utah Brands and Entertainment, LLC! Some weird version of a fight song. They got to get a new fight song for those guys. Come on.
Yeah. Well, we have SCG. Now we have Utah Brands and Entertainment.
I think you mean
UBE.
UBE.
That's what it's going to be called. UBE. Get used to it. When we talk about UBE, now you know what we're talking about.
JJ's already trying to make that a thing. Okay. We're going to make it a thing.
Well, you're not going to say Utah Brands and Entertainment LLC every time you mention it.
Yeah.
You're going to shorten it, so it's UBE.
Let me roll out for you a pretty interesting thing that I found today, and that is, again, I'm still talking about money, but this one has to deal with the coaches that are going to the national championships. The college football playoffs, all of the coaches on this list have something coming to them for getting their team to it. So let me start with I'll start I'm going to start kind of down toward these smaller schools because I'm interested to see what's going on. John Summerall, he coaches at Tulane, so you don't know what his contract information is because that's a private school. Okay, you get the same treatment from BYU and USC. Yeah. And so you don't know. I would assume there's something just built in because it's standard. You get to the college football playoff, you're going to get some money. Bob Chesney at James Madison is getting $100,000 just for showing up. And I don't even think
he's also leaving.
I know, and I don't think
He's
that
the next UCLA head coach.
I know, and I don't. What's crazy is there's guys on these lists that are going to make money, and they don't even coach at these places. Mario Cristobal, private school also, Miami. Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, $150,000 to get to the college football playoffs. Quarterfinals is $100,000. $150,000 for the semifinals, $200,000 to get to the Natty, and to win it is $275,000. $250,000 to win it for Brent Venables. If he gets the national title game, he gets $350,000.
Wow.
That's the biggest payout that I've seen. Actually, no, not even close. Mike Elko coaches at Texas A&M. Have you seen their numbers yet?
These are insane.
This is private equity numbers right here.
Right.
Mike Elko at Texas A&M. Gosh, you got to lure guys into that job at some point because when you're firing all your coaches and paying them out. LSU's going through the same thing right now. A college football playoff appearance from Mike Elko is $1 million. Quarterfinals is $1.5 million. Semifinals $2 million. National title game appearance is $2.5 million. If Texas A&M wins the national championship, he gets. So all those bonuses, by the way, at the end of 1 year, add up to $8.5 million if they make a run and win the national championship. That Mike Elko gets as a bonus.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
He gets $1.5 million just by beating Miami.
I mean that is phenomenal.
Wow. Can you imagine one game for $1.5 million?
That's awesome. I think it's crazy.
Jeez.
I mean, that makes it a little bit more fun. College football playoff appearance for Dan Lanning, he gets $150,000. Title game, he gets $500,000. Joey McGuire gets $150,000 for getting for going. Each round is $150,000 for him, but if they win the Natty, he gets $400,000. I hope all these guys see Mike Elko's, and you're going to see those numbers go up. Absolutely.
That's insane.
Ryan Day, Ohio State, $100,000 to get to the college football playoff, $500,000 to win it. Kurt Cignetti, $500,000 to show up, $2 million to win the Natty.
Oh my gosh, $1 million just to get to the title game.
He got again,
and they got a first round bye. The path's not crazy to get there. That's crazy money.
So Pete Golding, who's coaching at Ole Miss now, is coaching for his life. And he's also coaching to put more money in Lane Kiffin's pocket.
And doesn't LSU have to pay for it?
LSU was worked into the deal, and LSU has to pay all of the bonuses that Lane Kiffin will get. No longer the coach, but nobody has talked about whether or not Pete Golding is going to get those same bonuses if they go forward there. I would assume there'd be some version of it. But $150,000 to get there, and it's $1 million for him, that LSU will pay him for Ole Miss winning the national championship. That's where we've gotten, folks.
That's insane.
This is where we're at. So when you look at all those coaches and you see the incentives there, if you were to make a top three of the coaches, let's go top five of the coaches that are in the playoff right now. Give me your top five. I'm going to go number one's Kirby Smart. I think that guy is phenomenal, and he's got 3 national championships, right? Is it 2 or 3? And they're
at
the
least
most
2, maybe 3. Yeah.
And they were on a power run. Then they continue on there. Where does Kurt Cignetti land in the top coaches?
He's got 2, by the way. Kurt Cignetti has now vaulted himself into at least the top 3, and based on what he did at both James Madison, who's also in the playoff, by the way, that's a program he built.
Does he get that bonus? He probably should.
He probably should have worked that in. And what he's done at Indiana, which is the most improbable college football story of our time. Indiana was bad forever, and he's got Indiana at number 1 overall in this college football playoff and undefeated. You could make an argument that Cignetti's the best college football coach in the country. No one has done what he has done. Ryan Day took over an Ohio State program built by
was already
Urban
going.
Meyer.
Yeah.
Even Kirby Smart took over a really good football program.
They won back-to-back in 21 and 22, by the way. That was the
Correct.
I thought he won 3.
2.
But they're in this conversation every year, which is why he's the highest-paid coach right
100%.
now.
100%. And obviously Georgia's still been in the playoff. There's still been getting close.
He's $13 million a year in a salary. He's the highest-paid coach still. And Lane Kiffin's right there behind him. But, Mike Elko would be if he wins the national championship.
Yeah, and if Mike Elko does that,
crazy.
And all of a sudden he puts his name in the hat as the best coach in the country. I would probably go Cignetti, Smart, Day. But Joey McGuire's winning me over, and I'm a big Dan Lanning guy.
I love Dan. I think Dan Lanning's a top 5 of those guys.
So that would be my top 5.
I think bottom 2 is Venables.
Right.
I don't know if Alabama has a coach in the top 5 of those either.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kalen DeBoer's
blown
there.
us away at Alabama? I don't know. It still feels like a weird fit.
From the standpoint of these G5s who got in, maybe just by the fact that they got to the college football playoff, they just vault themselves up too because they're better coaches. It takes a little bit more to get there. So
well, yeah, we got to. I mean, what's John Summerall going to do at his next stop? What's Bob Chesney going to do at UCLA? We'll keep an eye on those guys, but they got those programs into the college football playoff for the very first time, and it's pretty impressive. And there's always a new rising generation of coaches coming up. Is Summerall and Chesney, are they a part of that? Are they going to take their next teams to this big stage? Keep an eye on them. But these are massive numbers and an impressive list of coaches here. You mentioned which one's the best, which are the worst of them. These are still all elite no matter what.
Yeah. If Lane Kiffin was actually coaching in this thing, he'd be kind of right up there. You'd have to throw some respect at Ole Miss.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you can't.
You have to get.
That's a program that's never been relevant.
He's easy to pick at and roll your eyes at with a lot of the stuff he does, but you have to give him credit for what he's done at Ole Miss, something that has never happened at Ole Miss.
Just win, baby.
Yep.
That's it. All right. We're going to take a break. Before we do, it's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. You know what that means, JJ? Free stuff for people who are listening right now.
Good.
Caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE gets a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Lakers on Thursday, December 18th at Delta Center. All you have to do is give us a call. So Jazz Lakers coming up next week. That's next week, right? Yeah. Next Thursday. So we got tickets for you. Jazz Ticket Tuesday. We're going to do this every hour. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663. Join Hans and Scotty, by the way, too. Tomorrow they're going to be at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3. Take a listen in on the program. They, of course, have tons to say about all this, but they're going to be at RGS Exteriors tomorrow. More to go on the program. We'll come back with a Would You Rather. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Thanks for being with us on the program today. It's been quite wild. Before we get into our Would You Rather and then chat with Haley from Hercules Credit Union, I want to remind you, tomorrow's a big Win Ticket Wednesday. It's big for us, too, because it's the very first time. I don't think we gave away some Michael McDonald tickets that one time. Remember that?
will be there.
Yeah. So this is our second go-around of Soft Rock, Yacht Rock, if you will.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Coming to town, and you can win tickets tomorrow, starting tomorrow. You can win them before you can even buy them. Toto, Christopher Cross, the Romantics.
Together?
I know.
Toto and Christopher Cross?
I know. All at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on August 21st of next year. Yeah, that's how far ahead you got to get Christopher Cross and Toto tickets. All right?
Yeah.
So wake up. Let's get them going. You can win them all day long tomorrow on our Win Ticket Wednesday, or you can just go to livenation.com or KSL Sports and listen all day long. Would you rather? The college football playoff is set up. I've always tried to figure out how to – there are some – I mean, there's no comparison with basketball that is apples to apples at all with a tournament that football is having. Not just from the number standpoint. They don't have – basketball has it figured out, man. Basketball has it figured out because their metrics are – they are what they are.
Yeah, the net ranking is a great metric, and I think it's been very effective.
And they lean on it, and they go –
and they should.
Look at the net rating. And there's always still – I can't believe we got let in or let out, or we're not in. And there's but again with 64 or 68 teams, like in the end you don't feel bad. There's no Notre Dame, walking away.
Not a situation.
Although there are a lot of teams that your North Carolina sometimes who will just be like, we're not playing in the NIT this year. We're not doing it. I don't know if they do that, but I will say that I'm trying to think of a comparison of what you'd rather have not as an athletic department, just as a fan. Okay. So put yourself in fan mode, which is hard to do. You're a 12 seed in the college football playoff, or you're a 12 seed in the college basketball in the NCAA tournament. An Elite Eight run in the NCAA tournament as a 12 seed, or win one game as a 12 seed in the college football playoff.
I would compare the two as very similar. Because you've seen schools like Kent State and others that have been able to do that.
You got to pick.
Oregon State went to the Elite Eight in basketball a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
So that's similar to that. Winning a college football playoff is so hard.
And right now it'd be the first, big upset, right?
Like
that we'd
Boise
ever seen.
State couldn't do it last year.
Yeah.
Arizona State couldn't do it.
But they were 3 and 4.
Those are good
technically.
teams,
Yeah.
right? But we know where they were really at. SMU didn't even come close, right? Clemson got crushed as the number 12 last year.
Yeah.
Winning a college football playoff game is going to be extremely difficult, and only 8 each year. Well, only so how many are going to be able to say that this year?
Yeah.
Not many. So it's a lot more difficult to just win one college football playoff game as opposed to making a 3 or 4 game run into the NCAA tournament. So I would go playoff game as a much
like an Elite 8 run for any team, like.
But it's not a Final Four.
I know, and I was debating
and
saying Final Four or semifinal.
No, you use the perfect analogy here because Final Four creates a whole different conversation.
It's its own
like FAU getting to a Final Four was insane.
George Mason, right? Too
insane.
Yeah,
that's the next step. That's like James Madison this year in football.
Yeah,
making it to the semifinal or the final or the quarterfinals.
You think it'd be that much? Well, and I think the quarterfinals would be if they win one,
which
is about right. I think that's about right. Anyway, I think I'd rather have the college football playoff win because
the money's better.
The money is better, and it would be so dang cool because he'd beat a big program.
This is a good question for BYU fans right now because you've got a basketball team that has Final Four potential. Would you have traded this basketball experience that you're about to have for BYU?
Wow.
Just going to the college football playoff?
They go to the NCAA tournament, get upset in the first round, but you get BYU going, getting into the college football playoff.
Right, a home game for BYU football in the playoff.
A little devil on your shoulder.
Which would you trade?
I'll make you a deal.
Which would you do?
All right, I love it.
It's a good would you rather.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Steve Bartle's going to dive in. He's our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. I'm sure that Steve's got it all buttoned up on how this thing's going to work.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
We're going to ask him to talk to us like we're 3.
I explain like I'm 5.
Yeah.
I am that guy right now. I need that. Mansplain me how this is going to be amazing on this thing. We're going to dip in with Steve Bartle, our Ute insider, right coming up around the corner here. So stay with us, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, man, I need some soothing music on a day like today that's chaotic. It doesn't feel...
It takes you back to a simpler time.
It does. Well, it certainly... Today feels wild.
Before private equity got involved in college athletics.
Hey, by the way, private equity took over the music industry a long time ago, so don't worry about it.
And my burritos. Still not over it.
I know. You're fine. You'll be fine.
No.
Here's what I think is that, or I just want to. I think the reason I feel so uneasy about it is because I don't understand it. Like when I say I don't understand it, I understand.
We fear things we don't understand.
49%. They bought 49% of the athletic department. That's crazy.
It is.
And saying that out loud sounds even more crazy.
And they're going to want a return on their investment.
And I think that people look at the $500 million and then they go, man, the money is super important, and you have to invest to be able to get that money back. And you know, you hear the term ROI all the time. My wife's in the financial game, and I'm telling you, like, when you hear ROI, like, then you just start to think, okay, well, so football doesn't really matter then. It's just like, can you churn out a profit?
Right.
And women's basketball doesn't matter because we're just trying to churn out a profit. That's what I fear that something like this would turn into. And I wonder what that's really going to look like. Now, college football.
Unless you've got a Caitlin Clark on your women's basketball team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And are you willing to spend the amount of NIL money or private equity money to go out and get that type of a talent,
right,
to then produce that kind of a result with that team that generates revenue? Because if you have a Caitlin Clark at the Huntsman Center, they're packing in 10,000, 15,000 fans per game instead of the normal attendance you'd have for a team that's average.
Let's get to the cut because I want to kick off the hour talking about, you know, kind of what this is going to look like with the University of Utah. Our Utes insider for KSLSports.com, Steve Bartle, is going to join us here. So let's kick it off right here. Let's get it going with the cut, top of the hour.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Doug Smith brings you this portion of the program, an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, all located in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and now in Linden as well. Check them out. Nobody knows cars like Doug. We love those guys. So I want to know, like from an X's and O's standpoint, we didn't get to break down the full bowl games that everybody was invited to, and I'm looking at this Utah versus Nebraska game in the Vegas Bowl. Obviously, a very different field playing in that particular stadium this time of year for the Utes. What do you think the vibe is with Kyle Whittingham and playing Nebraska that is going through quite its own turmoil,
right.
That doesn't really know what the future of their quarterback and their coaches and all this thing sort of looks like? I know Matt Rule signed an extension, but it always felt like a little bit icky still.
Right.
So Nebraska, blue blood. I mean, it's still considered, I think, a blue blood, I think.
Oh, it's still a brand, still recognizable, but like we talk about adapt or die, it's nostalgic. It's not hot and hip. Does that make sense?
It's not the
that
hip and cool
N
bowl.
logo is nostalgic.
Of course.
It's not fresh and new, and that's the problem with Nebraska. As far as on the football field, Utah is a much better football program and a better team, and they should roll in this game. I don't know what Utah's bringing. I don't know who's going to play, and that's the problem with bowl games these days. Is I have no idea who they're going to put out on the field. Was Northwestern better than Utah 2 years ago?
Of course not.
Why did Northwestern win that game?
What was it, 14-7?
It was an awful football game.
Gross.
And left a sour taste in my mouth about bowl games. Utah hasn't won a bowl game since the Heart of Dallas Bowl.
Which is crazy.
I was at that bowl game.
Witt was like on a tear of just winning
an unbelievable
them all.
streak.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't know when private equity is going to pass on all the bowl games, by the way. They're going to be like, no, that's not worth it to us.
Who knows what this is going to mean.
Joining us on the program, Steve Bartle, our Utes insider for KSLSports.com. Let's start there with the actual football part. That makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, Steve. Nebraska, Utah, when you saw the matchup, what's the team feel like about with this matchup? It's a 7-5 Nebraska team. You're a 10-2, way better on paper team. If you're the University of Utah, you're coming in a top 15 team. Nebraska is also going through some weird turmoil. So what's the vibe like on the Hill about this game being played in Vegas?
Great question there, Alex. I don't know. We haven't had the opportunity to talk to him, so I don't know for sure. But I will say this: I having talked to some people around the program, there's excitement, understandable. Maybe not the best matchup, maybe not the most exciting bowl game, but I think after last season, 2024 being what it was, being as difficult as it was, you don't want to take these types of seasons for granted. And I think, with the opportunity to play in Las Vegas, which is a bowl game that has actually it's upped its how it's viewed and its brand, and it's really gained a lot of notoriety as a really solid bowl game, for programs to get to. So, there's a lot to it, but I think there is excitement for Utah to play in this game. I don't know who's going to be playing in it, who's going to be sitting out just yet. I'm sure we'll learn about that over the next few days and weeks. But, in terms of talking to people around the program, there's excitement for it, obviously within reason, being the fact that, you were on the cusp of a college football playoff opportunity, and to not get on that, it's with the game and the way that it's evolving, it's turning into playoff or bust. With what Notre Dame has decided to do and opting out of the Pop-Tart Bowl, and I think you're just going to continue to see more and more of that trend as we move forward, unless there are changes to the college football playoff. But in terms of Utah, I think there's it's a solid level of excitement, I would say.
Yeah, we'll wait and see who's going to play in this game. As I just got done talking to Alex, that for me, that's the difference. Is Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu going to play in this game? Are both quarterbacks going to play in this game? Who's hurt? Who's not? I have no idea. You're right. And the fact that they haven't done any media or anything about the bowl game is kind of weird, to be quite honest, because you saw what the Pop-Tarts Bowl did this weekend. They were all hype. It was great, and all the coaches have talked. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But ultimately, you're right. A bowl game is something that they should be excited about, and a chance to play a brand like Nebraska can be a lot of fun, and it would be their first chance to get a win over Nebraska. One player that I don't know if he's going to be there or not, even though it looks like he's going to enter the transfer portal, is Isaac Wilson. He was there last year, decided to stay. What do you know about the situation with Isaac Wilson? Is he definitely a go this time?
Yeah, I think the situation with Isaac is obvious, right? He returned to the program last year and did a lot in 2024 as a true freshman, thrust into a difficult situation and did his best to make the most of it. And, returning this year, there was optimism. There was hope that, he could learn and develop behind a quarterback like Devin Dampier. But obviously with the emergence of Bird Ficklin and just the way that he was able to take off, right, in the sort of role that he was utilized, it was clear that, he became the future of the position behind Devin Dampier. So, with the emergence of Bird and the offense, Isaac essentially, this is essentially the writing on the wall for him, and he's going to hit the portal and he's going to look for a new opportunity, to find somewhere that can maximize his ability. I think Isaac has the talent, right? The natural physical ability to play at a really high level, at that quarterback spot. He just needs to get into the right situation where, he can learn, he can develop. He needs time. That's been my opinion after last season, right? Going through what he went through in 24, where, things just sort of fell apart. He struggled a lot. His confidence was probably shook, as games wore on, and that can have a really tough effect on players. So I think finding the best situation for him will be important, and that probably means potentially going down a level to the Mountain West or something like that, where he can go down a level and just kind of work his way into playing at a good level again. I think that's going to be really good for him. So Isaac is still a kid that has a ton of potential, and I hope that he's able to find a good landing spot to unlock those talents.
Utah State's looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really good fit.
It'd be amazing.
I would hope that it'd be a good fit. Well, Steve, before we get to the big news of the day and the elephant in the room that we're kind of having a hard time wrapping our head around, one thing that we're hoping to wrap our head around is Kyle Whittingham's tenure at Utah and what that's going to be. And I know that people at some point were like, oh, here's the timeline. The board's going to make a decision, and we're going to find out. But what's the reality on I know we don't know, but what's the timeline for when he's going to make that decision? Is it something that they've tried to make known at all, or is it just we're all sitting and waiting around, sitting on our hands to see if Kyle Whittingham's going to be back?
No, there really hasn't been any sort of communication about when a decision is going to be announced. But, in regards to this decision, I think we'll see something here pretty soon. I don't have a firm timeline. I can't say that it's going to be by this date or to look for something there. But, obviously we know that Kyle had a contractual obligation to notify Utah of whether he was going to retire or whether he was going to return for 2026 last Friday. So we know that came, and we haven't seen anything just yet. And, with talking to people around the program, I would anticipate that we'll see something here soon. Again, I don't have specifics or hard timeline, but as I've talked to people, I feel like, we are going to see Kyle come back. I think that's been the way things have been trending. It's been interesting having these conversations about Kyle and where he's at in his career, because there's a lot of things that point to, retirement, but there's also a lot of things that point to him, wanting to come back. His entire family was out at the Kansas game, and we're taking photos after his press conference together as a family. And it's like, you just don't see that normally, so there's things like that. But then he's talking about, his desire to continue coaching this team and this group specifically, kind of reigniting the passion for coaching again in him, and something that he's truly enjoyed. So, I think that's kind of where things have been trending, is Kyle leaning towards returning in 2026. And obviously with that is Morgan Scalley in his role, right, as head coach in waiting, and what that means. And I think, if Kyle does come back, it's a good thing. It's a good indication of those two being on the same page with everything going into 2026. And I think there will be, I think that'll be important. So that's what I've got with Kyle. I think we'll see something here soon. I was told, something this week potentially, but certainly before the bowl game is when I think we'll see something on Kyle. But that's sort of like why we haven't had the typical media availability that we've had in years past, right? Like last week was signing day, and typically we get a media availability to talk about the signing class. We didn't get that. We didn't get media availability to talk about the bowl game invitation, and so it's just kind of all hinging on this and that going public before we start to get some updates on some of the latest happenings up there with Utah football.
He's, you know what it is? He doesn't want to get the question from Steve and PK. More importantly, he's like, what do you think, Sparky? I'm not going to answer your question because it's going to get asked. And so maybe there's some writing on the wall there. We'll read into anything, I guess.
Well, I think something that Utah Athletics is happy to talk about right now is the big news today that the University of Utah has landed a private equity deal that's expected to generate $500 million for the athletic program. What can you tell us about this, Steve? I think a lot of people are trying to wrap their head around this. I know you've had to immerse yourself in it. What are some of the things that stand out to you about this deal and what it means for Utah athletics moving forward?
Yeah, this is a big one for Utah, and I think what was maybe most surprising was the timeline of when this started and when it all came to be. Mark Harlan shared today in their availability with us that these conversations started over a calendar year ago in regards to when this idea was initiated and when they were tasked with starting to figure out ways to put this all together. So this has been in the works for quite some time. And, with this deal, it's not finalized just yet. So, President Randall shared that is expected to be finalized in the early part of 2026. So there's still things to be done on that front, but I think this is really significant for Utah. First and foremost, obviously with the rev share and the demands that has put on universities to pay student athletes directly, it's created a lot of difficulties, financial difficulties for programs across the country. You're seeing programs that are sharing, that they're dealing with significant deficits financially. And, fortunately for Utah, they're not in the same situation as other programs in terms of their deficit, but they're still operating in a deficit. And to have this, I think, is significant to address, first and foremost, the rev share portion of this new era, right, where you are on the hooks for $20.5 million, which is expected to rise, I think, 4% next year to something like $21-22 million. And so you've got to account for that. But then too, this is significant in the sense that it's also created a new LLC for Utah, which is really going to be fascinating in terms of what impact that actually has on the university to be able to, utilize some of their brand, just parts of their brand, players and logos and that sort of thing, and turn it into more revenue generating opportunities. And I think that's something that I'm really fascinated to see what sort of impact that has on Utah athletics and their ability to generate, potentially more third party NIL deals. The $500 million is a great infusion of capital for Utah, and that's going to alleviate a lot of the burden, on donors, which then frees them up to be utilized in other ways. And so, you're essentially covering your bases, securing your floor with this capital investment, and allowing creating opportunities for money to be utilized in other ways instead of being funded for this new burden of rev share. So I think that is going to be really fascinating to see what sort of impact that has on Utah moving forward, because we know that this college game, it's no longer the college game that we grew up watching. This is now evolving day by day, month by month into a professional sport. And this is a big step in that way. And Utah being the first to embrace private equity. Obviously, you hear private equity and you sort of cringe because, the private equity, it has sort of a bad reputation. But the thing here is, for Utah, is you're preserving the emotional investment by having your big donors involved in this deal the entire way and maintaining decision-making power with President Randall and Mark Harlan. That also is going to preserve the identity and soul of Utah in this private equity deal. So there's a lot more to unpack here. But the big thing here is that Utah has created a new LLC. They've maintained decision-making power, and they've found a partner in Otro Capital that they feel is a really good fit in terms of their vision and what they want the University of Utah to be. There's a lot of motivation with President Randall and Mark Harlan and the sports programs, each individually. They want to be among the best in the country. They want to be recognized as one of the top athletic programs and one of the top universities in the country. And this is a big tool to help them take steps towards achieving those goals.
Steve Bartle, Ute Insider for KSLSports.com. You can see his byline there, and anything that does move on this deal and any other facets that come into this thing, he'll be all over it, of course. Steve Bartle. Steve, thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
There you go, Steve Bartle. One of the interesting things that I thought about when I was listening this morning, I was driving my kids around, and Chris Hill was on with DJ and PK, and he talked about are you going to be able to offer your donors a tax-free deductible or a tax-deductible donation with a private money-making outfit? The answer is no. And that's kind of a big deal, right? I mean, you're talking about
one of the perks of donating to the university and donating these things.
That thing off,
is what the 503, what they call it, what's the, I don't know.
Well,
I'm going to go there. But the tax write-off.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to get the tax write-off if you're investing in a private equity firm.
Yeah, and I wonder what that's going to look like. I don't know. We'll have to balance it all out. But in the end, if there's a bunch of money that they're going to have access to that they didn't have access to.
But then again, if there's profit made and people are going to make money off of it, then
that's the expectation.
That'll be successful.
That's the expectation. That's only what these guys do. They're not like, let's come in and we like being a part of sports.
No, they're not here to get sideline passes.
No.
That's not an ROI here. They don't want to just be able to shake hands with players or maybe have play video games with them for an hour. That's not what this is.
They're going to sell the sideline passes at a premium
to
somebody else.
No, this is different. This is not that. This is not boosters.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner, and I'll tell you what we do have. One, we've got more tickets to give away. And we have another game to talk about this Utah Mammoth team. It was a struggle last night at home. That Kings team's pretty darn good. They're one of the better teams in the Pacific right now. But it just seems like things are a little bit hit and miss with this Mammoth team. We'll talk about that. And the loss last night they took to the Los Angeles Kings as they came back to Delta Center. And our Jazz Ticket Tuesday giveaway. That's all next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
So right now it's a 6-car pileup in the LA zone. It comes free for Kevin Fiala. Headman feed. Armia has a breakaway. Armia walks in and scores. Joel Armia got behind everybody. Mikhail Sergachev this way. Keller, one-timer. Gunther, he scores! Bullseye! Dylan Gunther! Utah connects on the power play, and it's 2-1. Goes to Keller. Paterka gets it back. Stenlund, a one-timer, had his stick tied up. It's sent down the ice by the Kings, and they nail the empty net. 1:38 to go in the third, and the Kings take care of business late.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday. It's a busy Tuesday. As we count down to these college football playoffs, this is the part that Coach McGuire was right on. Was sitting around for these weeks and being like, do.
Doesn't make any sense.
0 sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and if they go, well, you got to give these kids a break. It's like, well, you make them play on Christmas anyway, like half the time, or New Year's. I mean, like they're not really getting a break. They're still practicing. They're getting this thing going. Have the calendar shift, because as I looked at it, I looked it up, and the national championship game is going to fire up on the 19th of January. It is the day after the NFL divisional round, so they start to kind of
17 days after the last bowl games on January 2nd. 17 days.
Oh, that's icky, dude. Like, that's terrible.
What are we doing there?
I don't know. Ugh. I don't like it, but you got to get it wrapped up. And I love college football. I don't want it anywhere near the NFL playoffs.
No.
You know?
And they'll lose. They're not going to win.
Oh, of course. They're never.
Scenario. I get it. That's why they have it on a Monday.
They'll never be head-to-head. But it's just weird they're kind of having it at the same time, and you could knock it out.
That prompts another conversation, though, but we all know why. But it's money, but why is college football trying to be pro league? Wouldn't it just be minor league NFL?
Yeah, I mean,
when you take away the things that make college football special, it just becomes pro sports. And is it good enough of a product?
Yeah.
At that point, to maintain people's attention when they look at it as a professional sport and not a college sport.
It'll almost cheapen it if we kind of go, oh, it's like AAA baseball, and you're like, oh, well, that's not very fun.
But everybody in AAA is trying to get to the league.
I know. It's the same thing. I mean,
we have a lot of people playing college football that probably don't care about getting to the league because they're making so much money playing college football.
Right.
Who knows? Wild place we live in for sure, like you said.
Hey, it's that time of year you're probably trying to figure out the gifts thing. How about you go to minkycouture.com and you can save 50% right now. The promo code is Zone50 off of everything on their online shop. 50% off right now. Promo code is Zone50. You just go to minkycouture.com and or you just use it at any of the 6 locations. You have to yell it at them, though. You have to yell the promo code out as soon as you walk in the door.
Yep.
That's how you get the 50% off. All right. It's also that time of the day for us to give out our tickets. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Call number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-ZONE, 801-575-9663. Gets a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Lakers next Thursday at Delta Center, December 18th. So there you go. Fire it up, get that phone going, and let's get you watching this Jazz team at Delta Center. Speaking of Delta Center, the Mammoth come back for a little mini homestand, and they started it off with the loss against the Kings last night. Kings are a good team in the West. They're a good team in the Pacific, and they're a playoff team. And they looked markedly better than this Utah Mammoth team last night. And the Logan Cooley being out thing is a gut punch, like an indefinite, what are we going to get with, the $80 million man, the $90 million man. And it was nice to see a power play goal last night. Maybe they're up to 5.5%, 6% maybe on the season. It just is. It felt stale, and I think that there were moments during that game where they scored at the front end of that second period, and then it was a drought of them not even being very far into the Kings zone very often in that period.
Yeah.
And so it seems like things aren't clicking totally right now. I would love to be a fly on a room in the locker room, just figuring out, like, what are they talking about? Is it dead quiet and everybody kind of knows what they need to do because they're pros? Or is somebody taking control? Is somebody walking in there and going, let's go, guys? I don't know. Maybe they have rah-rah people. But in the end, they lose another one last night, and it's tough to give up 4 goals to the Kings and lose 4-2. And they've been short on the goals the last couple of games, and they've led to 2 losses in a row.
Well, and bad starts, too. Falling behind has been an issue in some of their games. Obviously, it wasn't a problem down in Anaheim, but outside of that, they're usually fighting, trying to crawl back into games from behind. And they just didn't have enough last night. Again, you pull the goal, you got an empty net opportunity at the end of the game, and they've just forever, whatever reason, they've just never been able to take advantage of that situation. And that's frustrating because you had a chance just down a goal. But ultimately, you lost that game last night in the first period. The energy wasn't there, came out a little flat, and the Kings took advantage of them. That's a veteran team. You look at that team, Andrei Kopitar and all those guys they have on that team. There's guys on that team that have won cups. And those are the kind of guys that come in your building, and they're pros, and they know how to do this. And you're not ready for that. They'll smell blood. And I think that the Kings jumped on the Mammoth last night, and I think the Mammoth showed a lot. It's the second period. They get the Gunther goal. They're fighting back a little bit. They stayed attached for the most part. But ultimately, this is another game where this team just fell short. And it feels like a lot of the same. When is this team going to get back to, and I'm not saying another 7-game win streak. I know how difficult that can be. But this team's good enough to win, more than 500%, more than 50% of their games. This team should be better than 500, and that's where they're at right now. And they're right now they're on the outside looking in when you look at the playoff picture. And the farther they fall behind, the more difficult it's going to be. We know what the goal was coming into the season. It's playoffs or bust. This organization, I know they're only their second year in Utah, and their first is the Mammoth, but this group, they've been building this going back to their Arizona days. And this group is at a point where they're ready to take the next step, or should be ready to take the next step. And this feeling of, well, maybe they aren't ready is really unsettling because that's unacceptable.
The good news is in their division, they've got teams losing behind them like crazy. I mean, Chicago is staying put.
Surprised by Winnipeg being at only 29 points.
Winnipeg might be this year's Predators from last year, although the Predators from this year are continuing to be the Predators from last year.
Worst record in the league.
That's crazy
right now, the Nashville Predators, with all those signings they had last year.
Utah's 4th in their division, but the thing is they're 17 points off of.
That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about.
Off of the
if this continues, down at the bottom, there's going to be, how long are the Oilers going to stay in this group? Right now, I can't see that happening. The Oilers have got to make a jump at some point, right? But you're right. You're looking up and you're seeing Colorado at 48 points, the Stars at 45. The Wild went on a tear. They've won 7 of their last 10.
And you've gotten lucky that
they're at 37.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're staring up and you got a 6-point gap, and all of a sudden all you have to play for is a wild card, and there's only 2 spots, and Edmonton's one of them.
Of course.
So that's the we saw it last year. The fight for those wild cards was ferocious. It ended up being the Blues that got hot at the end and stole one
on a tiebreaker,
and they still had to get it on a tiebreaker as hot as they were. So the room for error is pretty thin, and we talked about it with Cole yesterday with the Mammoth. It's not panic button right now because they're not the Vancouver Canucks or anything, but they're barely hanging on by a thread here in this playoff mix. And if they become detached a little bit, it's going to be really tough to get back. As we saw last year, they were there, they had a good start to the season, and then fell back. And you saw how hard it was to get back in the wild card chase because these other teams. I mean, there's so much parity in this league that it's not like you can have to go on a long win streak like the Blues did last year to get back and become a factor. Don't fall behind that bad. Keep pace now. Be more consistent. Play more consistent hockey. You're not going to win every game, but the pace that the Mammoth are on right now is not good.
Well, we'll see if they can turn it around again, and I think it'll be good for them to be at home for a minute, just to be able to maybe feel a little bit of that home. The home crowd was awesome, by the way, last night.
No, that's not a problem at all. The support is there. The place is rocking. Everybody wants this team to explode and play at their best, and the team just doesn't have it right now. And they get it. They've been going through a lot of stuff and some challenges, and losing Logan Cooley's a big loss, but there's enough guys in that team and enough talent to pick yourself up and get something done, at least be a little bit more competitive.
So they have 2 more games at home here before they hit the road again. They're going to go Panthers, Kraken. So they're going to host the Florida Panthers and the Seattle Kraken.
What's up with the Panthers? They only have 30 points this year. They are tied for the second worst record in the East.
Look, I'd feel bad for them, but they've been so good for so long. Like
Ottawa too.
Hey,
wow, there's some interesting.
But listen, they're the reigning champs. Okay, it's hard to. There's like no version
Maple
of it.
Leafs aren't doing very well. Neither the Devils.
Guess what?
Everything kind of flipped in the East. I just noticed this as I'm taking. We don't follow the East as much,
is not
but
as important to us. Yeah.
But there's a lot of parity though. There's only 4 points separating second to last to the top wild card spot with the Penguins and Rangers. So a lot of parity in the East.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go here on the program. When we return, I've got a top 10 for you. It is interesting, to say the least. We'll get some help from Joel Klatt, and we'll see if you can guess some of the top 10s that we're going to on this one. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. I got a little top 10 for you, JJ, but it's not going to be a normal top 10. And the reason is because we're going to kind of just walk through a little bit of something here because I was dipping in with what I like to see what the national people say. I think BYU fans have made some enemies and some friends over this.
Sure.
Like Robert Griffith the third, Robert Griffin.
Yeah,
the third.
RG3. He's the most popular guy in Provo. Loves the Cougs.
He's yes.
El Presidente. Provo Dave.
Although Provo Dave said Provo Dave's dead. That's what he said on one of his. It's hotter.
He's off the bandwagon.
It's black or white for Dave Portnoy. You cannot hitch your wagon.
You can still win him over with some creamery ice
cream.
Sure.
But like Kirk Herbstreit, that guy. BYU fans are like, never heard of him. I hate his dog. Like, I don't even know. I can't do it. And I found this list, and it just went away because I had it in front of me. But here's what we got. Okay. So he did a list. He goes, well, let me do this. I'm going to give you my top 10 because he does his top 10 throughout the year, like of all the teams. It's different from the AP. It's different from the college football. Well, I mean, it's just separate from it, right? So here's what I'm going to bring up is the top 10. And I'm gonna go from 1, okay?
All right.
And he just did a top 10, and I don't know why he did 10, and then he added a first team out. So,
okay.
as if 11 teams is important. But Indiana 1.
Yeah.
Ohio State 2.
Yeah.
Oregon 3.
Really?
That's wild, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's definitely out there, but
it's the top 3 teams in the Big Ten.
It's an 11-1 record.
The 3 Big Ten teams.
Yeah, and Oregon didn't play in the Big Ten.
Top.
Oregon didn't play in the Big Ten championship game. Maybe that's going to be the secret sauce.
And their only loss was to
Indiana.
Right.
And Oregon, by the way, is interesting because they were one of those teams last year who played in the Big Ten championship, had a bye week, right? And then now this year they're playing in the first round. Maybe that's going to be the secret for them, is they can get kind of a little bit of momentum going. For Georgia. Any beef with any of this so far?
No.
Haven't heard Texas Tech's name till now. Number 5, Texas Tech.
I would have Tech 4, and I would have had Georgia 3.
Yeah, I probably would have put.
I think you got to respect Georgia.
Yeah.
Their only loss was that Alabama game, and they've been pretty. I don't know. The Georgia Tech game was kind of weird.
Number 6 in the country.
I'm good.
Number 6 in the country.
Texas A&M.
No.
Okay. Ole Miss.
I'm going to give you one more big
Ole Miss?
guess. Nope.
Oh.
Give me one more out of the box.
Alabama.
Number 6 is Notre Dame.
Joel.
I love that you did that. Oh, Joel.
Come on.
You yuckity yuck.
Why?
You're joking around with
Why?
us. He doesn't say a thing about it.
Why?
Oh, no. He says, did the committee get it right? Probably because of the head-to-head with Miami. But look what Notre Dame has done, and they are just that good. And I'm like, are they? Okay.
What have they done?
I don't know. Look at what they've done.
They've got great losses.
They won 10 in a row.
They got phenomenal losses.
Okay, Texas A&M.
Good job on losing to Texas A&M in Miami.
Texas A&M 7.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, that's about where they are on everything.
Yeah.
And they only lost 1 game, and I know that their schedule is soft as Charmin, but they still had one of their best seasons they've ever had.
Yep.
Miami 8.
Wow. Way high.
Alabama 9.
Where's Ole Miss? 10?
Number 10, I'll give you a guess. It's not Ole Miss.
BYU.
No. You're going to be
Vanderbilt.
Number 10 is the Texas Longhorns for Joel Klatt.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Joel.
Come on,
It deserves
Joel.
that. And the first team out is Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
So no
The team
appearance.
that made the playoff.
No appearance by BYU.
Well, he has to put Oklahoma behind
For the
Texas.
head, he said the head-to-head.
Because of the head-to-head.
Of course. Oh. So
what are we doing?
Oklahoma's first team out. No mention of the teams that were actually. I mean, Notre Dame is 6 in this list. I don't get it. I don't get it.
They got to play somebody. They have to beat somebody. You can't just push brands. And that's his list is just pushing brands.
Herb Street's argument was like,
Texas did not deserve to be in the playoff.
he goes,
this year.
I don't know what the committee was thinking because I wasn't in that room. But for me, if you lose to the same team twice, I mean, they got really beat by that team twice. And Georgia, obviously, Alabama, they beat Georgia, and then they lost to them in the conference championship game. Yeah, the game got away from them a little bit. And I was like, what are we talking about a little bit? They lost by 3 touchdowns.
They got hammered. They
It
had
was
minus
ugly.
3 yards.
It was
rushing.
ugly. And he goes, yeah, so I think the committee didn't like that BYU lost twice to the same team. I'm like, the number 4 team in the country? Probably a semifinal team?
The committee
Okay.
didn't like Alabama losing to a 5-7 Florida State team.
No, they
For their
kept them
third,
where they're at.
in one of their 3 losses.
There you go. I just don't get it. All
It's
right.
pretty frustrating.
How about Texas at 10? Are you more offended by Texas at 10 or Notre Dame
That
at 6?
blew me away.
Or Notre Dame at 6? Which one's worse?
They're both egregious.
I think Notre Dame at 6 is wild.
That's just brand chasing.
6
That's just
is
I love these
wild.
brands. I love what Texas football is all about. I love Notre Dame and their history. It has nothing to do with what's actually happening on the field right in this moment.
I know. He should have gone full Colorado man and just said first team out Colorado. Coach Prime. It would have made just as much sense to me. All right. A break. We'll come back. Our 5 o'clock hour kicks off with Pete Fiutak. CollegeFootballNews.com is where you can find him. And I love the fire that Pete brings. I want to know where he's at on this whole thing. The college football playoff, where he thinks everything should have landed. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Our mid-20-something producer, Alex Napolis. I won't give his real age. He's hanging out in that.
Napolis, did we introduce you to Yacht Rock?
No. I think he's always been a fan.
Or
Napolis.
does this go way back to your
Do you-
childhood?
I was familiar prior to.
Okay. Do you listen to it ironically, or do you enjoy it?
No, there's actually some songs I genuinely enjoy.
Okay. Yes. We got him. We got him a little bit, JJ.
Sweet.
Now we're gonna hit him with the Christopher Cross concert next summer.
Gotta go.
Oh my goodness. I sent you guys a thing yesterday. Napolis, would you really spend $500 on a Lionel Messi ticket?
No.
No. Okay. All right. I was
That's
just wondering.
500 is too much.
Wow.
Okay. I thought you
Soccer
loved,
guy says
I thought you
Messi's
liked
not
soccer.
worth $500.
I thought you liked watching the best player in the world, but I guess I was wrong.
You know what's not worth it? Paying $500 and him not showing up.
Now that could be the case. All right.
Regardless, my bank account won't appreciate it.
Yeah, that will not discriminate of you feeling bad. So let's kick things off here on our 5 o'clock hour. We've got Pete Fiutak, collegefootballnews.com. We're going to start right there. We're going to ask Pete all sorts of things. Let's get into it right now with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, your local financial fiduciary. Just go to their website right now, TrajanWealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com. Pete Fiutak joins us on the program. He does it periodically, and he's nice enough to dip in again as we knew we were going to get a post-final college football playoff rankings reaction from you, Pete, but things have gotten really weird, especially here in Utah. Lots of stuff going on. What were the thoughts on the final college football playoff ranking and where everything's settled? Did you feel good about it?
Yeah, first of all, feeling good and feeling a little weird at the same time. Guys, going back to, Doobie Brothers, what a fool believes. I'm a person of a certain age. That was like playing all the time at like the 1981 NCAA tournament. Like during the NBA, that was like the lead in and lead out for every song. As a little squirty kid, that song stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I'm sitting home pretending to be sick from school so I can watch college basketball, and that's the song that they kept playing.
Smooth tones.
Single time.
The smooth tones of Michael McDonald. They got you.
But
They got their
digress.
hooks in you. Yeah. I love it.
I digress. Yeah. But yeah, to your point, like, they screwed it up. Either they screwed it up or they tried to pretzel themselves into something because they were catering to the ACC, or I'm not sure what it is. Like, first of all, and you probably have a different take on this, but in my national view and stuff, it's been kind of odd how quiet BYU people have been. Because they should have gotten a lot more love than they did, but I kind of sense that BYU types knew their fate no matter what, and were kind of like angry before this weekend, so fine, whatever. They have a legitimate beef in a lot of different ways, and Notre Dame's the one who really got hosed. Because the problem is this idea when you have the head of the College Football Playoff Committee, who is an athletic director at Arkansas, comes out and says with a straight face that the committee thought that BYU's loss to Texas Tech in performance was blah, but the Alabama performance against Georgia was okay.
Gutsy.
Like,
it was gutsy.
That's the word. Thank you. I can't remember what it was, but it was that. But like, you can't. First of all, it was 24-7 Texas Tech with 7 minutes to go. Fine, BYU wasn't playing great, but Texas Tech's a number 4 team in the country, and they were, that was bad, but okay. It was 28-7 with 7 minutes to go in Bama, Georgia, and Georgia just stopped, and so, like, whatever, and Texas Tech got a few more extra points. Same bad performance. So, like, okay, so if you're going to do this, either you've got to say that, okay, we're going to make a kind of a judgment that we are not going to punish teams that lose conference championship games because they're playing the extra game. Fine, okay. I get it. While these other teams are sitting on the couch, why should, these guys get punished? So, okay, we're going to keep Bama here at 9. Okay, well, then you got to keep BYU at 11. Then, if that happens, Notre Dame's in. Or you're going to say, BYU looked awful, we're going to move them down one spot. Then you got to move Alabama down one spot, and Notre Dame's in. So they really twisted themselves around to do everything possible to make Miami in. And remember, in the first round of college football playoff rankings, the head-to-head thing was already baked into the cake. Both teams already had 2 losses. Notre Dame was 10. Miami was 18. And they had to work it to do this so we get Miami in the college football playoff.
Crazy.
Yeah, Notre Dame fans are upset. BYU fans are upset. I mean, even their own Twitter account was taking shots and firing missiles. So there's been a lot of angst and a lot of frustration. And I also, Pete, I think what you just talked about with, BYU's losses were so bad, it's actually disrespectful to Texas Tech and what Tech has done. They don't respect Texas Tech like they do Georgia. And I think Texas Tech has a reason to feel kind of slighted as well, even though they are in that top 4 as far as the respect goes. But you wrote on collegefootballnews.com 3 simple fixes to improve and expand the college football playoff. We're all frustrated with the process of the committee and the results. What are the fixes? How do we fix what we see is not working?
Well, first and foremost, the College Football Playoff Committee has got to have a press secretary. You can't be that bad at trying to communicate what you're doing. And I get it. I know these people. I worked with them. I know how it works. That you're trying to leave yourself a ton of outs here. They're trying not to paint themselves into any corner where they have to take these teams and leave out other teams and take their judgment out of the mix, which isn't fair. So you can't just go out there every week and be all cheeky and say, like, well, we kind of thought this week this team did this, but we're not going to share this. Oh, this team could move. You've got to give these teams something to go off of because, again, BYU knew their fate. They basically had to win the Big 12 title. Okay, well, the Notre Dame people were all along saying, well, you kept this high all along. You didn't punish us, so now you're going to do this. So first of all, you've got to come up with some transparency, which means you've got to come up with a hard and fast rule when it comes to conference championships because you cannot do what you just did to BYU and Alabama and ruling it the same. The other key thing is this weekend, instead of expanding, just make this a play-in game. Like, go, okay, fine. So we can't quite decide. We got these 2 teams that are out. Okay, BYU at Notre Dame, James Madison at Tulane. We're playing those 2 games this weekend, and there's your 11 and 12. and we're going to get it from there. Because you can't just – if you expand to 16, then we're having the same argument. I'd be screaming today that Vanderbilt got in even though it didn't play anybody, and USC played teams and didn't get in. So there's always going to be a cutoff. So if you can't get in that playoff, you don't really deserve it. And then finally, just say all Power 4 conference champions are in. Duke should be in over James Madison. They have 7 wins over Power 4 teams. James Madison has none. Don't be a bunch of record rankers. There's a couple of simple tweaks that I think would make this process easier, but man, did they mess this up.
I love the idea of record rankers being like a cuss word. Oh, he's one of those record rankers. Look at you. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just a record ranker. Here locally, I don't know how much you've been able to dip into it, but the University of Utah is getting close to finalizing a deal to bring private equity, a first-of-its-kind situation. $500 million is going to get infused into the athletic department at the University of Utah. It's going to be basically its own LLC, and I would assume that would mean the athletes would be employees. We're not exactly sure how all of it's going to work, but when you saw this, what was the thought, and how on earth is this going to affect the rest of how people are doing? Because we've heard other people threaten something similar.
Oh, it's all sticky. I mean, it's all money. It's all trying to figure it out. It's all paying these guys. And it's okay until you get into the idea of them being employees, and then it gets really weird and really sticky. So it's fine. You know, it's these players are getting paid. You still got to go out there and win games. And, you know, it's not like everyone can do what Texas Tech did, you know, or what Oregon did. You know, so, all right, if you want, you know, a lot of money to be spent out there, you can do it. Look, BYU is in a, you know, great position as well. You know, it's a very wealthy school in a lot of ways, and it's succeeding, obviously, on the basketball court and, you know, in other ways. So it's okay. It's like it's seen as a negative. Remember, just keep remembering, all this is show business. There's nothing noble about college athletics. It's not like, you know, a bunch of students. It was my funniest thing that happened this weekend was they couldn't get anybody to fill these other bowl slots because all the players left. Meanwhile, every other college kid on the planet is studying for finals this weekend. So, like, the whole idea that this is college football is sort of going bye-bye a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I wanted to get your thoughts on Notre Dame, the way they reacted afterwards in opting out of the bowl game. What did you think about that, and what do you think it means for the future of bowl games?
It's fine. They just do a hissy fit, and bowls will survive. They're not going to change anything. Okay, whatever. It's a bad look. I kind of like the idea, the Dan Campbell idea. Remember at the end of the regular season a couple of years ago when Detroit was awful, and they came out and went full throttle against Green Bay and said, we're setting a tone now for the future. This is how we're playing Detroit Lions football. And, yeah, it kind of was awesome because that's what they've done ever since. They've kind of had that attitude ever since then. I kind of think that this would be a chance. If you're Notre Dame, you get out there. We are setting the tone. We are going to just come out and absolutely annihilate BYU, and we are going to show that we are going to go on the revenge tour of 2026 or do something like that. And instead of this, I get what they're trying to do. They don't want to let ESPN get any more money because who gets hurt in this really? It's ESPN. So that's fine, but I don't think anything big's going to come of it. But it's just a bad look all the way around. But look, you know, that they're also kind of shining a light on the fact that these bowl games are nothing but fun exhibitions. I mean, it's good. You know, we all are going to watch, but it's about the playoff, and all these other games are just kind of for fun unless you're, you know, like one of these, you know, lower end teams where, okay, you get to play more football. It's kind of fun. But if you're a high end team and you were told for the last several weeks that you were in the college football playoff and then you're not, I get it. I get them being pretty mad right now.
What's your gut feeling, Pete, on how the college football playoff committee they already punted on when they're going to meet and decide on whether or not they're going to expand? Do they go to 16, do you think, in the offseason here? Or was there just not enough push from the biggest players to have that kind of a difference made? And are they just going to skip to 24 at some point along the way? I don't know when they're even going to meet again. I know they pushed it, but I don't know when. But what do you see? What do you think is going to happen with the college football playoff in terms of the number of teams?
All that matters is the Big Ten and SEC are happy. SEC got 5 teams in, you know, so those two are happy. Remember, the SEC got 5 teams in. The Big Ten is the biggest conference in all of sports in terms of, you want to talk about if they get their stuff together with the financials, good night. They're going to just blow everyone else. So they're fine. They got their teams in. They didn't really have another one that should have been in and got hosed, so they're not really all that mad. And so if you expand, you're just going to have the same problems. The issue really is how the College Football Playoff Committee works. You can't be this opaque on the process. You can't just leave it to a panel of judges and just every week they meet in mystery. The reality is they're real people with real jobs and lives. They're not diving into the idea that, look, BYU absolutely smoked TCU. TCU beat SMU, who beat Florida State, and 6 degrees of that. They're not diving that deep into this stuff. So you've got to come up with a better overall system within the confines as it is, because the other thing you don't want to do is start getting to a point where, you know what, it's probably a better deal to opt out of a conference championship or not play that rivalry game in Week 12 because you want to save your players. So it's a real sticky mess here. But at the end of the day, everyone's just going to make a lot of money. We're all going to watch no matter what.
You're right. We're all going to watch. And I think that's the key.
Yeah, but
We're
I'll be mad about
with
it.
The committee.
I'm going to be mad about it.
I want the committee to go away. I'm mad at Notre Dame.
Destroy Nebraska.
Yeah, I can't wait.
That's going to be weird.
Yeah.
That's going to be the ugliest bowl game of the bunch, by the way.
It could be.
Neither team. I don't know. I don't know if either you're going to get the best shot from either team.
We don't know what Utah's going to feel. We're waiting to find out. We haven't heard anything about Kyle Whittingham's status.
They haven't done a press conference.
Whether their offensive line's going to be intact, we have no idea. It's kind of like a mystery bowl at this point. Although you're right, Nebraska probably has it worse than Utah right now.
Yeah, look at the offense. Take a quick gander at the Nebraska offensive backfield, and if they score 8 points, if Utah shows up at all and Nebraska scores more than 7 points, you're going to be mad.
Looking at the playoff, I mean, we're all frustrated with the committee, but ultimately you're right. We're going to watch these games, and now that we have a college football playoff bracket, and you're looking at it, who do you think is going to win this whole thing? And is there one team that can wreck all of it and go on a surprise run?
First of all, I say that jokingly. We're not going to be watching that first round because the Miami-Texas A&M game is first, and then the NFL games happen. I believe it's Washington, Philadelphia, which whatever, and then the night game's going to be Green Bay, Chicago. So you're going to tell me that anybody in America besides friends and family are going to sit there and watch Tulane Ole Miss when it was 45-10 the first meeting between those two? And Oregon, I don't know if you're an investment bunch, but that's going to be 52-3. I mean, that is good. Oregon's going to go full throttle. That is going to be as ugly as Oregon wants it to be. That's just a whole lot of ugly for the first round. To me, I complain, I yell. Miami's that good. If Miami's that focused and they come strong with all that NFL talent, Miami's the one team outside of the top who I think could make a real run at this. The other team was Notre Dame, but they're out now. I honestly think, Indiana's good, but I think that was more about Ohio State choking in the Big Ten championship. Georgia's great. That defense is the real deal. And Ohio State is going to wake up, and if they actually decide to put that thing into third gear, I think they beat everyone else. And for some reason, they take it way conservative. They did it against Michigan last year. Did it against Indiana in the Big Ten championship. I think once they get the college football playoff, it's like enough of this. Here we go. And I think you're going to see the real Ohio State just kick it all in. So to me, it's Ohio State, Georgia, Indiana, and Miami are the 4 teams give the field away, and I think those are the 4 that have a real shot at winning it all.
What's the future of how the big, like the old New Year's Six Bowls? I love how that was like the old school New Year's Six Bowls that lasted for 8 years or something like that. So what's the future of we were trying to figure out is the Rose Bowl going to be important still? Is the Sugar Bowl and the Orange Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl, are those things going to matter much going forward with all of this?
I don't think so for a new generation. The Rose Bowl will always be the Rose Bowl because they've kind of made it that way. There's still nothing quite like, I'm sitting here in 10 feet of snow. There's nothing like New Year's Day when you see the sun and the grass. It is the most beautiful setting for sports anywhere. It's still awesome. That's great. But like to your point, like, is it the Sugar Bowl? Is it the Fiesta Bowl? Is it all these other bowls look exactly the same. There's nothing really unique in the settings or anything. They're just teams playing in NFL stadiums, which are all cookie cutter and look alike. So there really is no difference among any of them. So you're right. I think the bowls just sound like they're big. But all right, that's the only reason why we have the playoff in the first place, because the college football playoff people were bowl people, and they still are at heart, and they don't want to screw that system up. They want to keep that cash cow flowing for everybody.
Pete Fiutak, collegefootballnews.com. Pete, love your insights as always. If you want to check out Pete's byline, and he just the thing about Pete is you just get a straightforward look at how these stories go, and so we love having him on. Appreciate it, Pete. Have a good one in that 10 feet of snow, brother.
Absolutely. You have a good one, guys.
Pete Fiutak, everybody. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. When we return, we've got our NFL Blitz. I think we have some Jazz tickets still to give away. Come on, man. Let's get it going. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
News and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You know what day it is, JJ?
What?
It's Tuesday.
Well, I knew that.
It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Come
that's
on.
where you got me.
Let's get it going.
Let's give away some tickets.
801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. That's going to get you a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the Lakers at Delta Center on December 18th. That's next Thursday. So we got you hooked up. You want to see the Lakers come to town? We can't technically say that Lakers fans can't win. You do have to be a resident of the state of Utah, though. I will say that.
Yes.
That's part of the rules. So these people who want to win the tickets and then show up with their Shaq jersey on.
Oh, man.
You know those guys.
Yeah, I know
used
who
to
they are.
when our show was in the master studio over here at KSL Radio, everybody would be walking by for Jazz games, and on the Lakers nights, it was so annoying.
I know.
So you know what? Win those tickets right now. 801-575-ZONE, caller number 12. Go there and give all those Lakers fans that show up to Delta Center what for. Why do they do – I just have a quick question before we get to our NFL roundup here, our NFL Blitz. What's the point of doing the college football playoff committee's funny because they'll go, hey, here's your full bracket, right? JMU, Tulane, blah, blah, blah. They go through. It's a nice graphic. It's like a nice 3D. It's all shiny.
Yeah.
Okay? Why do they include the first teams out? Don't even do it. Because it's kind of weird because it's prominent in the middle of the screen between the national championship football at the bottom
the NCAA tournament.
and the one I know.
We always do it for the NCAA tournament.
But why do they do it?
Out.
Why do they do it?
To give
instead of consolation
recognition to the teams that were close?
They don't. There's not a soul who wants to see that on either side. Boom, we were the first one out. There's no freaking way. So when they put it on
being the third or fourth one out.
Isn't it funny? Because like my eyes are drawn to right here. And
yeah,
it says
right
Notre Dame BYU is the first team.
It looks like they're playing in a championship.
Well, they
game.
could have played each other.
They could have played in a championship of Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tart championship. Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame said, no thanks. We're going to act like babies, and we're not going to play anymore this year.
I just love their standing on their principles. I love when people are coming out of the woodwork saying all
Come on.
All right.
Clown show.
The NFL Blitz, firing it up here. I gave out the phone number, didn't I? Just want to make sure. Okay. All right. I think I did. It happened 5 seconds ago. I can't remember. All right, good. Napolis is getting calls. That's good. The Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. By the way, last night was a mess for two reasons. They had the Monsters, Inc. game, which was one way that I got my daughters to watch Monday Night Football,
so
my
it's
youngest
working.
ones.
That marketing is working.
I mean, I guess. Do they need a 2.5-year-old and a 5-year-old? My two daughters are like, they hate when we turn football on. Because, like, no, you know what I mean? And it's like, sorry.
Well, they're thinking about the next generation. How do they pull in the kids?
So, they
don't want to become baseball.
Watching that Monsters, Inc. thing, it was weird. It was a mess. But the bigger mess was
how many touchdowns did Mike Wazowski score?
It was Mike Wazowski and Sully, and half the time I didn't know which player they were actually talking about. And I'm like, which guy is this? Who did he throw it to? It gets it to Mike Wazowski. I'm like, no, but who really caught it? Some fantasy points are on the line here. Let's go.
Right.
Jalen Hurts was an absolute disaster. He's a guy who is really good at holding on to that football and not turning it over very much. And I think he had what did he have before last night? 2 interceptions? But he doesn't have a lot of interceptions on the year.
No, it's not. He doesn't do that a lot.
4
he had
last
a rough
night.
night.
4 last night.
5 turnovers total.
First player in the history of the NFL with 2 turnovers on 1 play.
That play was insane.
And you know what was more insane? Watching it, the stupidity of the animation trying to keep up with it. Because in my mind, I'm going, well, they're just making stuff up at this point. When I went back and watched the actual play, I was like, oh, it was a mess. That was terrible. That's awful football. Anyway, Justin Herbert and the Chargers get the win. Are you concerned as an Eagles fan that, like, I mean, I think they'll make the playoffs at the very least as a wild card, right?
Well, they're leaving the Cowboys in the mix. No, there's no guarantee that they get in as a wild card.
I just think they're going to.
I'll show you what it looks like right now.
Some things out here.
Look where they're at.
Tell me what you got.
Okay. They're 8-5. Yes, they're in first place in that division, but the Bears are 9-4. The Lions are 8-5. If the Eagles get caught by the Cowboys,
so
they could miss the playoffs.
They need to. They won't
and you
win.
Say there's no way. Well, the Cowboys are 6-1. They're only a game and a half back.
Yeah.
With 4 to play.
I think the Eagles will end up winning the division. I think they might pull it together enough for that. But this is not a championship caliber team.
I'm not seeing that. You're right. No, I don't think so. So then your mind goes to, okay, then if the Eagles don't have it this year, this thing's wide open. The Chiefs don't have it this year, and the Eagles don't have it this year. One probably misses the playoffs for sure. The other could possibly here if they don't get their act together. Who's going to win this thing? Who are the favorites?
No idea.
That's kind of exciting.
So it is confirmed. I mean, last night it was reported, and the sources were good. But now Phillip Rivers is unretiring, and he's going to sign with the Colts.
He's a grandpa.
That has been the story. That's been the storyline.
He has a biological child older than Riley Leonard, the other quarterback in the room.
That's awesome. Keep these Phillip Rivers facts coming, man. That's awesome. 44.
Yeah.
He's 44 years old. And I don't know what to think. There's part of me that goes, come on, man, stop it. This is a joke. And there's part of me that goes, I want to see Phillip Rivers make a start.
Yeah.
I want to see it, man. And by the way, they don't sign guys and get them onto the practice squad with the thought of, no, we're just keeping them on the practice squad. They go, we're going to sign him up here, get him on the practice squad, let's get some reps here, and then we'll elevate him on the roster if we think he's going to be doing it.
He was darn close to becoming the first Hall of Famer to play a game.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's almost eligible for the Hall of Fame.
He's 5 years out.
I don't know if he gets in, but I'm just telling you, like, that's how close. Can you imagine somebody who's in the Hall of Fame saying, I'm going to unretire and go play?
Oh, man. But I'm telling you, Phillip Rivers at 44 is not Tom Brady at 44.
No, it's not. But the fact that he is even trying this is insane, and all of us 40-somethings really appreciate it.
By the way, Week 15 coming up in the NFL. Week 18 is the end of the season. So you've got 4 more games left. And the Rams, Patriots, and your Denver Broncos can all clinch with a win this weekend. Or some help from some losses around there, too. But that's crazy. I'm trying to think. Bo Nix, so he got him to the playoffs last year, right?
Yes.
Okay, so first-round exit for them.
Yes.
Wild card exit, right?
Yes.
They're going to be a 13-win team at least, right? Like, they're going to win. They're going to be 13-4.
They're at 11.
They're going to be 13-4, 14-3.
Here's the remaining schedule. Packers this weekend, great game. Can't wait for that. Jaguars, no cakewalk.
Right.
Chiefs on Christmas Day, and then they finish with the Chargers.
So the Chargers game.
It's not an easy schedule.
Yeah, but you know what, if they've already clinched at that point, the Chargers game is a throwaway. You know that.
Right.
Week 18 or what used to be Week 17.
It could be for the division.
They will.
The Chargers got a big win last night.
That'll be
They're
one of those.
back.
And you know what it'll do? It'll probably boost the Chargers maybe into a wild card spot. But I'm telling you, that game won't matter to the Broncos. And you know what they're going to do? It's going to be one of those 34-3 games that no one cared about right before the playoffs. Because that's just how it works. Like, you know,
the Broncos will have something to play for because of home field advantage, potentially the number 1 seed.
That might be on the line.
They're tied with the
that
Patriots
could be on the line.
right now,
yeah,
11-2. So
imagine how weird that is to say that they're tied. To say, oh no, they're tied up, man. And to have this thing go and have to have a tie break to that's a crazy thing. Who are some of these people? Did Christian Cox?
Cox just walked into the building.
Gosh, I just got flustered.
Yeah. And we have some players that are starting to filter in with their families.
I think Christian Cox is going to speak to the young men today. So that's going to be a cool thing. Let me see here. Let's take our break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. I'll tell you what we do have when we come back. We got a best and worst. There's a lot of worst, I feel like. We need to be a little bit more positive, JJ.
What's worse is BYU basketball
Can we find a best? Oh, is it still going poorly?
I'll have an update when we come back.
It's not going well. Oh, that's at the half. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. We'll take a break. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Welcome in, everybody. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Final segment of the hour here. And we're going to chat with Haley from Hercules First Federal Credit Union also in just a moment. She's this old hat for her, though. It's like, at this point, it all just rolls off the tongue, JJ. She knows what she's doing now.
She's a real pro.
Yeah. So we'll get to Haley, and she'll tell us why Hercules means so much to this prep community here that we're honoring tonight, and also for our Hercules Hero of the Week award, which we give out every week. Best and worst brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chevy, Subaru, Kia, and now Mitsubishi in the full fold of the family of dealerships with Doug Smith. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Best of the day, Ben Anderson's White Sox just earned the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 draft.
The Chicago White Sox.
How about that?
Tanking worked.
Man, they've been bad for a couple of years. Like, awful bad, right? I mean, it's just been – I like when teams get a number 1 overall pick, but MLB is worse than NHL when you talk about a number 1 overall pick and what that means.
Yeah.
The Bryce Harpers and the
I couldn't tell you the last 5 MLB first number 1 overall
right,
picks.
The Bryce Harpers of the world, like that can turn around and start playing immediately, that's not really a thing. You know what I mean? And so it's not really something that affects it anymore. But I do like to see – I'd love to see the White Sox figure it out. Old South Chicago, man. You can't – again, the Cubs are in town. They're always the biggest game in town. It's fine.
No, I know. Nobody cares about the White Sox.
I know. Except for Ben Anderson. I just read during the break here, Pete Bevacqua. That's one of my favorite names to say, by the way. Athletic director for Notre Dame, who, by the way, is treated like a commissioner of his own conference.
It feels like it, right?
And it just doesn't help because he sits down in every meeting they have. It's Greg Sankey, it's Petiti, it's Brett Yormark, it's whoever the ACC guy is anymore. I said the ones that are important. But they all sit down. Who's the commissioner of the ACC? Well, anyway, I don't care. And the Notre Dame AD cares. Who it is, Jim Phillips, of course. Yeah, so all those guys sit down, and Pete Bevacqua is in those meetings.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird thing where it's like, we got to ask mommy and daddy permission. That's why the outrage is happening.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame didn't get something that they want for once. And I was reading their statement, and when I read it out loud, it was like, thank you so much to our fans and families and support. And Bevacqua claims that Marcus Freeman and the players unanimously decided to not play this game. I just thought, I don't know if that's really the case. However, they did tell the fans at the end of the press release, we can't wait to bring a 12th national championship to South Bend in 2026.
How arrogant.
Well, they get that something that kicks in this 2026 contract.
If they're top 12, they're automatically
That's it. Top 12, they're automatically in. So they push out JMU. So that's the fix.
Yeah.
Right? If Notre Dame is number 12 next year,
they'd push out BYU.
They would have pushed out BYU. Imagine how that would go over.
Oh boy.
And so they get an inclusion clause basically in this contract that if they're top 12 next year, they're going to the college football playoff, and that's a guarantee for them. And that's a way to fix having your just get one G5 in. We don't need to have this riffraff playing these games. Come on. So anyway, that's your worst of the day is Notre Dame saying they're going to bring their 12th national championship to South Bend. By the way, the last one was won 38 years ago.
I have something that was worse than that.
What is it?
BYU's first half against Clemson in the Jimmy V Classic.
What was the actual score at the half?
43-22. They were trailing unranked Clemson 43-22 at the half.
Yeah, Clemson's a good quad 2 opponent, though. You know.
Yeah, Clemson's got some players
I have
that
no
are good.
idea. What are they going to end up being? I don't know.
Like they got Jake Wallin, who played at Utah. He's from Utah.
Here's what's great about basketball. You lose games like this, and it's like,
Carter Welling.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, Carter Welling and Jake Wallin are from Utah, and they play for Clemson.
And if they have wins, or if they have losses against number 3 UConn, and then you lose a game on the road in the Jimmy V Classic against the Clemson Tigers, then by the end of the year, look, BYU's going to end the season with 8 losses or 10 losses, whatever it's going to be, because
they're going to lose games,
right? And so it's not one of those things that you should get all hung up on. Although they have gone on a 10-0 run to start out the 10-1 10-1 run.
They're back in it, down 12.
Yeah, back in it. We'll see. We'll see what kind of fight they put up. JJ, we're going to take a longer break here. I'm going to go up and introduce. Actually, I have the best job. I just say welcome, and then I say food's ready in the back, and then they start to eat. I introduce.
And nobody's better at it than you.
Listen, nobody's been better at introducing the food. Nobody.
I introduced the best food.
It's great. It's great in the back there, JJ. It's really good. What do we have here? Oh, we're gonna take a break. We'll come back. So I'm gonna go get the introductions going. We appreciate Hercules CU for getting on board, of course, with us today, and we're going to take the break here. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.